got inside. They got inside. What? They got inside. You got this, bud. Get him up there. Get him there. You got people climbing up. So many people. This is madness. We got patriots up there storming the Capitol, all over there. You turn around over here, as far as the eye can see, those are people. Those are all people. Wow. This is massive. You got this, bud. Get him up there. Get him up there. Get him up.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Grid Culture. I want to talk to you about the nonsense that took place yesterday on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. Now, what was that? What was the point of that? What was the end game? What were you looking to be accomplished from that action? If you went there with just the motive of disrupting the electoral certification, then, I mean, you did your job. You did your job and you got exactly what you wanted. But what else were you expecting? Were you expecting them to change their decision and hand it over to Trump? That was never going to happen. You had weeks to prove your case. You had weeks to come with evidence. And you came with nothing. Nothing stuck. Now, as far as different things like audits and whatnot, I don't know. I've heard there were audits that were taking place, and then I've heard that there weren't. I don't know. The whole election process is screwed up to begin with. It's screwed up to begin with. I believe all of it is rigged. I believe that we should only be focused on the rule of law, because democracy can always be uprooted. There's always a backdoor into democracy. Democracy lives off of mob rule, and it can be manipulated through things such as media, what you consistently see. So that's where the republic part comes into play, which a lot of people don't understand. Maintain our human rights, basic human rights, to where they can't be leveraged through a democracy, through mob rule, out of necessity. But this right here, Just don't understand what it was about. What was your method? I don't have a problem with protesting. I don't have a problem with protesting at all. For the most part, people kept it at that. But you're always going to have the stragglers, just like you had the stragglers in the George Floyd protests from this summer. They go off and start doing their own thing, and they start turning it into something else. But what you also saw at those George Floyd protests were there's a lot of people that were working undercover here to start and basically undermine the protests that were happening. Basically working as moles, doing their own thing. You saw many instances. Police were helping, spray painting black BLM and destroying cars and doing different things and placing bricks in different areas. Countless videos of things like this. So can't rule it out in a situation like this, especially in a situation that was everybody was well aware of weeks prior. Weeks prior, everybody knew that the Trump supporters were coming to D.C. on January 6th. Everybody knew what was about to happen. So why there was no preparation, why there was no security to even stop this from happening when they would at any other time, makes you wonder. And yes, the dichotomy has been brought up of, what would have happened if, it was black person versus what happened to the white people who, were majority Trump supporters. Not to say that they were all white out there, but, the high majority was white people. But then you got to look at it deeper. Maybe, like you said, maybe that was the whole objective. You never know what it is. Maybe that could have been the whole objective from the beginning, because it just doesn't make sense to why they would even allow that to happen. Just like you saw in the George Floyd protests, you saw videos of officers actually assisting people to storm Capitol Hill. Seems like a perfect opportunity to create more of a division, whether on a bipartisan level or a racial level. The whole thing was nonsense to begin with because, we have one authoritarian person being elected in, and people are mad and storming and protesting because they want their authoritarian in. And no, this isn't hyperbole. This is with proof. This is gone off of the actions that they've taken, the policies that they've either done or promised. It's not hyperbole. So, in all actuality, they think they're going to get something accomplished. They think they're getting a better America when, we're all going to be led into the same fire. One just may lead you there faster than the other. All going to have children in debt. They're all puppets, corporate puppets. They all work with international bankers. They all put them on their staff. When you trace the money and trace the people that they're in cahoots with, it'll all lead back and it all makes sense. So you're gonna realize eventually that you're all just quarreling. Your whole back and forth is nonsense to begin with. Now, I don't necessarily have a problem with them. Like I said, it's all about the motive, the method, and what they were looking to accomplish. I don't have a problem with person storming Capitol Hill. I'd rather it be Capitol Hill. If that's who they have the issue with, you take it to that person's doorstep. If it's the police station, you take it to that person's doorstep. Whoever you got the problem with. You know, whether it's agreed with or not. Hell, if it's with a particular store owner, and I'm not advocating for violence, I'm just saying, whatever the issue is, you take it to that directly to that person's doorstep. You don't do and like I said, it wasn't everybody, and a lot of it was because the protests were undermined. But even the media agreeing and having an understanding for the burning of businesses, yeah, you got to understand it. You understand where it comes from. But you definitely got to go out your way to you don't condone that type of behavior. Because all that does is it shoots you in the foot. It shoots your society. It shoots your neighborhood. It shoots your everything that you're trying to create. You end up shooting yourself in the foot. Shoots the citizen in the foot. Does you no good in the end. When you're destroying just random businesses and destroying everybody else's businesses and tearing everything up because you want your way. Yes, it was for a reason. It's understood. Want to get rid of oppression. That is not how you do it. All that does is bring more oppression. But the more you read, the more you'll know. The more you'll understand that. Because your news media won't tell you that. Especially with the news media being dominated by left-wing talking points and left-wing talking heads. They're going to spin the narrative in their favor. That's why they can create who the hero and the villain is. They can villainize these people easily while making vice versa look like the hero. Now, with everything that was going on, you have to, the blame has to be on the individuals themselves. Now, when it comes to, people who influence, there's always going to be level of influence. Everything is influenced within media. Everything is influenced for, with ulterior motives. So when you start talking about that, it becomes a real gray area, and you have to look at those with nuance. Because anything can be influenced. They're talking about people talking about throw Trump in jail, for starting this. Yes, he helped influence this. He had no way of substantiating the claims that he made or making it stick. Even if he felt he had the evidence, he wasn't able to make them stick. Wasn't able to substantiate them. And so he kept leading people down this whole path. But not only him, but, the other side, the media, like I said, that what left-wing media. Because they get caught in hypocrisy. They get caught in lies also. And people see that. People see that. And so rather than, just as both sides do. Trump's channel Newsmax, they had to come out and denounce some of the conspiracy theories, some things that were put out there regarding the voting system and different things like that. They had to denounce those things and label them as simply conspiracy theories and basically lies, misinformation, stuff that they had been peddling for months. That a lot of people didn't know that. They had to come back out on their own channel and do that. So you're getting it from both sides. But what you tend to see people do is they feel like they have to pick a side. They believe that if, you don't, you're just sitting in the middle. I sit on the side of truth. I don't choose sides, especially in something like this. If they're both evil, well, the enemy of my enemy doesn't necessarily make you my friend. Matter of fact, it never works like that because you would have to prove yourself to me. But that's not how society works. That's not how society's been working. And when they hear you say both sides are on the wrong end of the spectrum and both sides are oppressive, they don't that starts to become cliche to them, and they don't want to hear that. You have to pick a side. You have to pick a side. And so media is complicit in that just as much as, Trump and the rest of his cronies, the Giulianis, the Josh Hawley and all of them. They're all complacent. They all have a part to play in all of this. But at the end of the day, these people are grown people and they made the decisions that they made themselves. That's why I always say the largest responsibility remains on the person who receives the information. Yes, the purveyor of the information has a responsibility, but the largest part is on the people who receive it. They have to do their homework, verify and certify that the information that they have is correct and can be substantiated. Then they got to go in, it's just all, it's all a convoluted mess. It's all a convoluted mess. When you think about it, I've been thinking about it, all day and just trying to put everything into perspective about the whole situation. But like I said, I'm glad they kept it just at Capitol Hill. Took it to where whoever they had the problem with, that's the way that you're supposed to do it. Now, these people died. You had 4 people that died. You got to ask yourself, just, as you're laying there taking your last breath, was it worth it? Me literally dying for Donald Trump. Basically like a cult. It's a cult following, which both sides portray in. I'm going to keep saying that. But it's a cult following. And you went out there and died for that man while he's still living. Died over nonsense. All you have to do is defend your rule of law. You have to disengage from the politics. You have to disengage from whatever they're peddling and live your life and live by the rule of law. But also you got to be prepared to die for what you believe in. But you better make sure that you're making yourself clear as possible. And you got a leg to stand on. You've got references. And you live your life, fight for that rule of law, and live upon that. Because you're supposedly supposed to be protected upon that. Then, if the resistance to that comes, any interference within that lifestyle comes, then you do what you have to do. But until then, you're not going to get anything changed. You're definitely not going to get nothing changed by pulling the nonsense that you pulled yesterday. Because you fell right into the trap. How do you know that this was not all planned to let you do this, to make yourselves look bad? Especially with the position and the perception of conservatives and Republicans in the media, the way that is right now. Hell, Trump supporters. You fell right into the trap. You fell right into the trap. So y'all got to start changing your language. Y'all got to start changing your language. You got to start reading. Everybody has to start reading and understanding the people that you're even co-signing. Donald Trump is not some savior. He's not no messiah. Wasn't about to, whatever you talking about, gonna get rid of the pedophiles and different things like that. He is a banker puppet, like the rest of them. And you have been fooled into getting into this whole entire back and forth. And it's done you no good. All it's done is you just further buried your public perception. That's all it's done. So let's get smart. Let's get smart out here. Hey, I don't got a problem with the protest. I don't got a problem with anybody protesting, but you better make sure that you know what you're doing. That's simple. I'm out.